All right, here we go. Seattle Sports Weekly, Mazvita Maraire. And yeah, whew, glad to be back and all the good stuff and everything else that comes with this sportscast. And glad to have you all podcasting. Glad to have you all. The holiday season is upon us. So my question would be, did you fall for the okie doke? What I call the okie doke is, you got to go 50% here, right? So don't go for the full 100%. I mean, you can't go 0 for 2. You can go 1 for 1. And that is Thanksgiving, 1. And then there's also all the holiday sales and the 50% and 70% and all those things. So which one did you fall for? Me, I went batting 500. The turkey, yeah, the pies, the ice cream, the stuffing, I was all over that. And then I lost it. I mean, I absolutely lost it. I went hog wild, turkey wild, if you will, and enjoyed myself and some time with family and some friends. So that was good. And I did stay away from all of the holiday sales and all that. And I just didn't buy into the whole. I was tempted. I went to Amazon. I went to a bunch of different online outlets and even had a couple of things in the cart. That's how close I was to falling for the double okie doke, but I didn't. I did not. I stayed true to the game, and I did not. Didn't buy a thing. Not even, the usual. Oh, let me get stuff for family and friends now for the holiday, or you know what? I need this. I need that. Oh, wait a minute. Now that I did buy a couple whistles, basketball whistles. Well, that's I don't think that counts because it is the basketball season for Metro League, and I'll go down a little bit, talk a little bit about football in Metro High School because we're going to incorporate a little bit of the high school report here. So, anyways, it's about a couple whistles, and down the road I went and refed a couple games. It was the O'Day, refed O'Day in terms of the basketball game, and then Seattle SAS, as they call it, and Ballard. Metro League started early this year, so that was a league game for Seattle Arts Academy against Ballard. And you're going to ask me, when was the game? And I'm going to say Saturday. It's a doubleheader, the boys and the girls. And so get out there. Get out to your local high school because the season is in swing tonight. Let's see. Metro, Ingram, and Hale will battle tonight, and me and a couple other. Will Hart and Frank Clark will be on the court for that game. And I'll just tell you what we're going to ref. That way, I mean, it's not so much to come see us, but as a way to let you know what's going on in terms of the Metro. But let me go back in football right now. O'Day beat Mount Tahoma in the post semifinals. They beat them 14-20 at Renton Memorial Stadium. And O'Day beat Bellevue 20-14 at Renton Stadium, and then Eastside Catholic lost to Mount Tahoma 21-6. And so survey says on Friday, December the 5th, 7 p.m. Husky Stadium, Mount Tahoma will take on O'Day in the 3A finals for the Metro for the state. I should not for the Metro champion for the state championship. Keep saying Metro only because O'Day is from the Metro Championship. And then as far as basketball, as I said, it's on. The basketball season is here, and yeah, get out there and see. So today, yeah, what do we got? The girls, you got Federal Way at Lincoln High School, but Franklin and West Seattle tangle right off the bat. The biggest days for Metro are Wednesdays. I mean, they pretty much play every day, but Wednesdays and Fridays. And so there's a huge slate of games on Wednesday. Eastside Catholic will take on Mount Si, Lakeside, Woodinville, Seattle Prep, Bellevue, Nathan Hale, Ingram. The Eastside and Mount Si girls game is Mount Si. Lakeside travels to Woodinville. Seattle Prep travels to Bellevue. And in the conference game, Nathan Hale and Ingram. These are girls. They are at Ingram High School. And then Cleveland will travel to Ballard. And Seattle Academy, Chief South, 7:30. Seattle Academy is on the road. And then Hauling Names heads over to Rainier Beach for a 7:30 game. And then we'll go over the boys real quick. Kind of the same. And, oh, Lord. There we go. So, Garfield and Franklin tonight. And then we've got a messed up screen is what we got. And then also West Seattle, Edmonds Woodway. And that's at Edmonds Woodway. Bishop Blanchette, Woodinville, Nathan Hill, Ingram. As I said, Cleveland, Ballard. That's at Ballard High School, Seattle Academy. Travels to Chief South and Lakeside. We'll host Lincoln. And then there's just a whole slot of games on Wednesday. So there you go. Kind of your quick high school roundabout and kind of working out the kinks. We'll definitely be bringing the high school part of it and just going back at the shopping and whatnot. And then we'll get into a lot of sports to talk about. Not that high school sports isn't. Listen, shop local this Christmas. And the Columbia City Theater is having a special event on December 13th from 11 to 5 p.m. And then I would say, look, you should just shop local as much as you can after I gave a plug to who, the online store that is now a bookstore. But shop local, right? And that's whether it's food, and obviously you consume local in terms of your media because you listen to Rainier Avenue Radio World with all of our amazing shows, sports, community, music, cultural, health, nutrition, women in business. We have it all. And of course, I'm going to give another plug out to D Money's program, his show, and all the other ones. So, yeah, tune in. Shop local all year, but make a special effort on Saturday, December the 13th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the historic Columbia City Theater. And now, so in terms of sports, what is going on? A lot. So the Seahawks keep winning. They are winning. And 9-3, and I'll do a kind of in-depth into that. We got some videos and all those kinds of things, and dominant defensive stand by the Hawks defense. DeMarcus Lawrence continues to shine. The Seahawks front line is really the key there. And I'll do my post-game wrap, and you hear from Mike McDonald. Felix Hernandez, the pitcher, is also up for the Hall of Fame again for the second year. So he needs 73 to get inducted into the Hall of Fame, 70% of the votes, but he received 20% last year, which means that he stays in the running. And so, yeah, the hope is that he will gain momentum and join fellow Ichiro Suzuki, as you know, Ken Griffey Jr., and also Edgar Martinez. So, yeah, you need 75%. So there is a lot. I think it'd be interesting to see the swell here because I mean, much can be said, and they should be, that Fernan- Hernandez was actually one of the most dominant pitchers of his era. I mean, this guy absolutely accomplished, and some of the records that he set. And there's a big reason why many believe that you know he's got a chance at this. He absolutely has a chance at this, and if he kind of, I mean, um, from 2009 to 2015, in the 7 year stretch, he was named American League All Star 6 times. The 1 year he wasn't was 2010 when he won the Cy Young Award, and this is across baseball. So he is just a dominant pitcher, and it'll be interesting to see King Felix, if you will, and he was known for going 8 or more innings 16 times out of his 34 starts in 2010. He had a banner year, but only yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then the Sounders, we missed the show. We missed the show, but we had other pressing duties, if you will. The Sounders held their end of the season, if you will, uh, press conference. And my whole take on the Sounders, and it's interesting. We're gonna go back and kind of uh, show that report, and that interesting enough, the Sounders start their season February the 22nd. Like, no, that's not preseason. That is exactly when the Major League Soccer season starts. Their first regular season game is on February the 22nd. They will open 6 p.m. as they host the Colorado Rapids. I'm sorry, excuse me. What is the date today? Yeah, December. So the MLS season is the shortest. I mean, it's the long off season, the shortest, long season, the longest. And then you might have heard maybe relay that in next year, 2027, the Sounders will not play in this winter schedule. They will go back to what everybody else does. That is the FIFA, the soccer, their schedule. They'll do a summer and end early. And so that'll be a interesting switch there because as I said, the MLS schedule goes from February until last game, regular season game for the Sounders would be November 7th. That just gives you a whole lot of, I mean, you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 calendar months that they're playing. So, and let's go to, here's my thought on I'll be honest. I thought the Sounders, they doubled down on their roster. I think they just need to spend more. I mean, I get that they kept their core players that they believe, but I'm not so sure that the Sounders are playing to be the number one team in Major League Soccer. I get, they're fifth, and they stay number four. I just don't see this. They're fine with being the fifth best team, the fourth best team, making a playoff run and maybe getting into the MLS championships. Now, look, Cup, if you will. Now, we're talking about the most, the winningest team in the modern era, if you will, since they've joined the MLS. The Sounders are, and they've won. We know that. But my question is, are you keeping up? The talent gulf between Inter Miami, Vancouver, and Seattle Sounders and LAFC, I think, is bigger than what the standings show. And it continues. So the Sounders do this thing where they're like, you know what? We're going to stay with Pedro de la Vega. But Pedro, yes, a very good player, but he was injured. I'm not blaming the player. Paul Arriola, they brought him in, and he was injured. So, yeah, you didn't expect that Fine. So both of those players have been cleared to play in the upcoming season. But what if they don't? Shouldn't you bring somebody in to compete for the wing there? And I'm not all that sold in terms of Jordan Morris and Danny Musovsky. I get it. Jordan Morris scored 13 goals. Danny Musovsky is his best season of the year, of his career. And the Sounders scored more goals last season than any in the last 4 years. That's great, but is that going to be enough for the upcoming season? I just don't think it is. And that is why my kind of, with the Sounders going, I think you have to continue to play. You have to continue to go out there and improve. And you have to have a competitive mindset in terms of your roster. Does that mean that players have to be on an eggshell? No, I don't think so. But you have to build a competitive roster that continues. Players feel secure, but it's competition is highest level. The current roster, they kept Andrew Thomas. That made sense. Yamar Gomez, Cody Baker, Stuart Hawkins, Kim Keehee, Kalani. Excuse me there. Kalani, Kasarianzi. Fine. And Nuhu, world-class player. Jackson Reagan, Alex Rodin. I think you're solid there. Midfielders, I talked about Ariola, Reed Baker Whiting. This is the year for him. Snyder Brunel, can he take that next level? Pedro de la Vega. And I talked about there. Danny Leyva, again, good, but great. I don't know. George Manungu, he's getting some play in international call-ups. Good player, fast, speed, evolved a little bit. Christian Rodin is playing at a world-class level, and he's on the U.S. men's team roster right now. And then, of course, from there, Albert Rusnak, absolutely top-tier player, and Obed Vargas, again, just one of the brightest young players in not only MLS, but in the game today. He finally got a call up for the Mexican national team. All right, and then your forwards, Salazar de la Rosario, Jesus Ferrara, Jordan Morris, Danny Musovsky. Okay. Doesn't move the needle for me. If you're trying to, let's say, win the Community Shield. The Community Shield is the number one, are you the best team? This roster is good enough, again, to get you to compete for number 4, number 5, number 3. I don't think this is a roster that gets you to compete for being the best team in Major League Soccer. And that's kind of my take on the Seattle Sounders. Thank you. Is they're playing, right? You got DPs there. They got players to compete. But I don't think they have the players to win the number one team, to run the table, be the best, set records on both ends of the pitch, not only on offense, but on defense. So that is my take there. All right. And then in terms of I switch now to the Seattle Seahawks again, who just cannot stop winning. And, I should say it was kind of close. It was a very close game with the Minnesota Vikings. So we got the time. So D-Money, if we can play the first video there of me with the hat talking about the Seattle Sounders dominant 26 win over the Minnesota Vikings. A dominant display by the Seattle Seahawks defense carries them to a 26-0 win over the Minnesota Vikings.
Like I said, just playing together, playing our style of football, and going out there competing each and every down, and it was fun.
One of the things that Coach talks about is ball finds energy. Can you define that and how that played out today?
Yeah, most definitely. They always say they come in bunches. Once one comes out, then another one, and just everybody getting to the ball and doing their job, and that's how that happens.
And then on your interception, you kind of bobbled it. How much concentration does it take to keep hang under that?
Yeah, definitely. It takes a lot. Shout out Coach Frazier. We work distraction drills with the DBs after practice every day, and I can definitely give him a shot on that. It helps.
Last one, Ernest Jones. He didn't play last game. He comes back. What does he do for this defense?
A baller, man. Leader. We need him each and every week. We appreciate him. He's been a great player to this team and leader ever since he got here, so we appreciate him, man.
The defense balled out today, man. Just making turnovers and scoring points and just creating chaos for Minnesota today.
How important is it on offense to realize that you don't win the game in the first quarter or the second quarter, but you win in the fourth quarter?
I feel like something Mike preached to us like week in and week out. It's just softening the process, just being able to run the ball, consistently throughout the game. And when the fourth quarter comes, like, you got to take advantage of those opportunities.
A lot is said about the Vikings defense. What was it that they were doing? Because they bring a lot of rushers. What were they doing?
They moved a lot. They play a lot of different defenses. Kudos to them. They did a great job at times, stopping the run, but just stopping the process. Each and every play, just trying to take advantage of our opportunities.
And Sam's ability just to keep calm and persevere. Can you talk about that, his decision making today?
He had a lot of poise in the pocket. Sometimes it wasn't clean, but he made the best out of every situation. He put us in a position of success.
Basically, just riding to the ball, rushing coverage, working together. That's what all us together, and it was
the best corner in the league. And then Ernest Jones, right? He sat out last game. What does he bring to this defense as a leader?
I mean, he's the mighty backer for a reason. He's a leader. He's a great guy. He keeps us together, and that's what we like about him.
And then your offense, they were patient. They were patient with you guys helping, and then in the end, they broke through. How important is that for the offense just to be patient?
The offense will do their thing. They may have some ups and downs, but we all in it together. That's all that matters. We got their back no matter what.
It's like we talk about what's fun and what's not fun. What's fun is going to work and having great days with the guys you work with and trying to achieve a goal together. What do you know? This guy, talk about really tough football players. Ty's one of those guys. There's a couple things that we did to get him ready to play, medically speaking, and he just got ready to play. It didn't take a lot of reps throughout the week, so mentally was ready to go and play good. And if D-Bell was the guy to go in, we felt great about it as well, but felt like Ty deserved the chance to go start, which is the standard of how we want to play. And he's right there leading them with the rest of the crew,
Wanted to do a hit call on the running back. I know the ball was coming out quick. As soon as I did the hit call, he actually, gave me a little thump. So I fell, but playing football for all the years that I don't play, that's a hot stove. So you got to get up fast, and once I get up and retrace, ball carriers there and attack it. Yeah, while I was in the process of bringing him down, I'm thinking he's throwing it out of bounds, but when I heard the crowd roar, I'm trying to find out what's going on, and I just see EJ just chucking right beside me. So got up and ran and, celebrated. And I mean that wholeheartedly, but I feel like it's another level that we can reach. Y'all haven't seen the best of us, and we're gonna capitalize on our opportunities.
You guys, it's all about, man, these stats. Once football is over, not too many people are gonna remember the football player, man. I want everybody to remember the person. I want everybody to know, man, I love each and every guy that's in that locker room. I'll put my life on the line for them, and that's no exaggeration. So that meant everything to me. I'll take that with me forever. I was telling him it's been rough for me, man. It's been tough. And the release that I get is, being around these guys and playing football. But, I told the guys that I feel like I've been missing something. I wear this cross around my neck, but I haven't really, been living like it. So for me, I think, I took this time this week and just, gave my life back to my Lord and Jesus Savior, Jesus Christ. Got back on my knees, started praying, and, what he did for me out there on the football is it comes from that. But I think the biggest thing for me is like I got that piece that I was missing, and it's gonna help me. Mark is holding, getting ready to bring it to the ground, and when you catch these interceptions, everything kind of slows down. So I'm thinking, there's no way he's about to throw this. And he let it go. And then I catch it, and then I'm like, there's nobody in front of me. So I immediately started running. I look up at the video board, and I'm like, dang, somebody's catching me. It was Reek. Reek was just trying to beat me to the end zone. But that was my first ever defensive touchdown. It's been a while since I've seen the end zone, so it was great.
Game. As an offense, I don't think we played necessarily our best football, but we were able to come out with a win, and that's all that matters. I feel like our defense, our special teams played really well today. There were times, I felt like in the second half when we were able to kind of get things going a little bit offensively. But yeah, I think, we did enough offensively to win the ball game. They had a good, some good pressures for us. We just got to look at the tape and see how we can correct some mistakes and how we can get better from it. Football game, but again, it's a credit to our offensive line, our tight ends, receivers, running backs, everyone, doing their job, doing their 1/11th to put the ball in the end zone and not drive on that drive. And it was good to end the game that way.
All right, there you go. Some post game, and you heard some quotes. It really was on a day that the Seattle Seahawks offense struggled. It was the defense that came through. The Seahawks didn't score They scored their only touchdown with 9:11 left in the fourth quarter, but today was all about the defense. Ernest Jones had 2 interceptions. One was an 85-yard pick six. Kobe Bryant had an interception, and also Reek Woolen. Now, Mike McDonald wasn't all that happy about Reek Woolen because he was happy for the interception, but Reek Woolen then got tackled, and then the ball went back to the Vikings. But again, this was a dominant display by the Seahawks defense, and they got the pressure, and they were just able to show, they took another level in terms overall as a defensive unit. On the offensive side, you knew this was going to be a struggle because the Vikings brought the pressure, and they are one of the top-rated teams in terms of their blitzes. Now, the Vikings blitzes, they confused the Seahawks offense, and they made it difficult for Sam Darnold, who actually was sacked 4 times and had a forced fumble. But in the end, the Seahawks were able to find their footing, and with the win are now technically tied with the Los Angeles Rams, who lost to the Carolina Panthers 30-28. Now, technically only because it's a technical that they're tied, because if you remember, the Rams beat the Seahawks. But on December the 8th, here on Thursday night, those two teams will play. That's a long way off, but right now for the Seattle Seahawks, the defense takes another step in becoming an elite defense in the league. And so the 9-3 Seahawks move on. All right, so there you go. Just as I said there, the Seahawks defense moves on. And we'll hear from Mike McDonald on the other side of the break here. But DeMarcus Lawrence, he had 2 quarterback hits, and both of those quarterback hits, one, they caused turnovers. One ended up causing a fumble in which Ty Okada recovered, and the other one, the biggest one, was when DeMarcus Lawrence was pulling on Max Brosmer, the Vikings quarterback. Had him by the arm, and so Brosmer, as you heard Lawrence say that, and also Jones say, Brosmer was trying to throw it out of bounds, but because of the torque that was coming from D. Lawrence on the ground, he ends up throwing it, a good pass for the Seahawks, bad for the Vikings, and 85-yard pick six for DeMarcus Lawrence. All right, so we're going to go on break. And we'll hear from Mike McDonald, and then we'll wade into what's happening there in Montlake for both the football team and the basketball team.
Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
This winter, I don't want illness to get in the way of my holiday plan. That's why I got my annual flu and COVID shot. Everyone ages 6 months and older and get the flu and COVID shot each year. They make it less likely you'll get sick, and even if you do get infected, you won't get as sick. Free vaccines are available even if you don't have health insurance. For more information, visit kingcounty.gov/find a clinic. That's kingcounty.gov/find a clinic.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.org. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
The climate crisis is here, and communities most impacted are standing up. This is Earth Deserves More Than a Day, hosted by Rainier Avenue Radio and King County Parks. From elected officials, grassroots leaders, from river tours to cultural art, we gather to take action. Listen in. Learn more, then get involved, because the Earth can't wait, and neither can we.
Hello, I'm Tony Young, and every week I will be your guide to the music of the Fab Four with my show With the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, those four lads from Liverpool. First airings are Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. with repeats on Thursdays and Saturdays from 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Tune in to catch Beatlemania.
Are your kids eligible for or enrolled in Apple Health Medicaid insurance? Bring them to a free dental clinic in Skyway this fall. Public Health Seattle and King County is hosting free dental clinics for kids 12 and under at the Skyway Research Center one Saturday per month, now until December. Visit kingcounty.gov/ABCD for more information. Again, that's kingcounty.gov/ABCD for free dental clinics for kids.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
We are back for the second half. Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and we're all over the still on Facebook, but I think we are on there, but definitely on YouTube. And also, Seattle Sports Weekly, catch us at Mazvita Maraire at YouTube, and also, but go to Seattle Sports, go to Rainier Avenue Radio.world there, and get a chance. Take a look at all the other shows that are there besides this one. Now, the other thing is we on the other side of the break, we heard from kind of some of the players in the Seahawks 26-0 win over the Minnesota Vikings, which puts the Seahawks 9-3 tied with the LA Rams. And they're tied because the Rams beat the Seahawks down there in LA. And if you remember, the Seahawks had like 4 turnovers, and in the end, they end up missing this field goal. But there will be a mammoth if both teams continue to win. There is a game here on December 18th on Thursday that'll have the Rams and the Seahawks on Thursday night, and that will be one of 2 pivotal. All games are important, I get it, but 2 of the most pivotal games for the Seahawks. The other one, the Seahawks will play the last game of the season. They will play the San Francisco 49ers, and that date is to be determined. Not the date. We know that they will play. Yeah, actually, the date is to be determined. The NFL does this weird flex scheduling thing, but it'll be the last Sunday. And as you could see, the Rams are not. I mean, the 49ers are 9-4, 1 game behind the Seahawks. Now, again, the Seahawks, the opening game of the season was up here, Seahawks and the Rams and the 49ers, if you will. And it was the Niners with a 17-13 win. So Seahawks have to win one of those 2 games between the Rams and the Cardinals. I think if you beat the Rams, then I think you're in better position, and I think you have a better chance because you're here, whatnot. Trying to beat the 49ers down in Levi Stadium when you beat them last year is a tall task, but who knows? The most interesting thing is if the Seahawks win outright. But they're at Atlanta, they host Indianapolis. As I said, the Rams come here, and then they're at Carolina, and then so the last two games of the season are away at Carolina and at San Francisco. You run the table, and you actually possibly could have home field advantage all the way to the Super Bowl, which would be at Levi Stadium this year. So getting ahead of ourselves. But here's what Mike McDonald had to say after the team's win and during the Monday press conference.
Well, he's definitely been an asset for us. He's playing physical. He's playing decisive. He's getting us to the right targets. He's playing.
Mike's talking about
good things.
Oluwatimi.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of good things. As you know, it has to be. It's a cohesive effort. The run game, everyone's got to be on the same page, and it starts with him. So he's definitely a driving force behind while we're playing.
Mike, on your second half offensive adjustments, you can't say specifically, but what did you think of that? Because you had 4 sacks in the first half, and then what was that?
Talking about the second half adjustments for the staff.
For the offense, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we look. They can get to a lot of different things, and it's a tribute to them and how they're built. But you can't do everything every game. So we did a good job of understanding of some of the matches that they're doing and some of the fronts that they're building out of some of those personnel groups. We could get to some better answers, and so that's a tribute to our guys for being on top of it. That's really a function of just understanding what they were doing and what our counterpunch would have been. So that's what happened. As much as Stephanie probably doesn't feel it, but Tuesday family night is pretty great. We got a bunch of the staff's kids are here in town, or in the building, excuse me, and we set up the indoor here, so they're all running around. So Jack's walking now, so he's chasing something. I'm not sure what, but that's pretty cool to see him out here. That's a highlight. It really is like it's fun to see it come together. There's these benchmarks throughout the week that you want to see how the guys are taking into the game plan and what our mentality is. It changes varies from week to week, but you really do. I think you really do enjoy the process of seeing a plan come together and seeing how working with everybody to kind of put our best foot forward going into the game.
How good was DeMarcus Lawrence's game in those couple of plays when you looked at it?
Yeah, as advertised, just a lot of great things, but make 2 plays like that really probably won us the game. If we don't create that 4th down stop, we're looking at a 13-point swing. So would have been a whole new different ball game if he hadn't done the things he's done. Well, tribute to them. Good design on the front end. Could have some better execution in those moments. Kind of everything. Just a little bit better execution, identifying the front. When they did repeat a couple of those pressures, we executed at a high level. And we got a couple good plays, which is good. You just want to be able to do that on the front end. So things we're going to learn from and play a little bit more decisively earlier in games. But a combination of good design and we just got to play a little bit better on our end. And it starts with the offensive line making the right calls. Starts with then the quarterback being decisive on what to do with the ball, and we'll move on from there. Well, without giving into all the details, we operate. We have our own way of operating on how we handle our protections here. Some of it is by design, where we're not trying. We're really not trying to pick up absolutely everything. We want to follow our rules so we can go play fast. Sometimes we do have to throw the ball before the rusher gets there, and that's just the way you live. The trade-off is you're not staying up to 0 dark 30 every night trying to identify every rusher known to mankind, and if you're wrong, you're absolutely dead in the water, which some people live that way, and to me that's a really expensive way to live. So we got a great protection system. We've done a great job protecting Sam. Minnesota had a couple great plays, and we got to learn from them and keep it moving.
That's a line, Mike. That because of how well Lawrence and Murphy and Williams are playing, did that change you midstream on how you pass rushed midseason? Maybe you're doing things you didn't plan on doing until you saw what they were doing. Specifically, blitz less because
Yeah.
of how effective they were.
Well, I think when AD and I came together on how we want to build our front and Russian coverage mechanics, we're on our way to going towards that vision of what AD did so well in Dallas and how we just want our defense to work, where it's kind of everybody at the point of attack, guys moving around, playing off one another, all those things that we're trying to create. I think we're doing it at a high level. For a lot of plays, there's always plays where you are saying, "Oh shoot, we should have." It's kind of the cost of doing business on that front. If you're going to let guys, play off, not necessarily call every single movement you have. So there's going to be some times where you're going to want some more, but you're also going to get some great things as well. So in terms of us not pressuring as much, I'd say the effectiveness of our 4-man rush probably does drive our blitz percentage numbers, but it's not like I'm thinking about that on a play-to-play basis. You're really just thinking about what's going to give us the best chance to win that particular situation. Yeah, well, the way that the game declared it, we didn't need him to drop back and chuck it around the yard 40 times. So we knew we needed to stick with our plan, to kind of ground it out there in the second half, and we executed that. And I thought we played way better in the second half to help us win the game. One thing I can say about Leo is it's the amount that he sets his teammates up for success is understated. Like there's so many plays where he's setting somebody else up, whether he's getting doubled in the pass rush or he's running a stunt to free somebody else up, or in the run game, he's making the ball go a certain direction. I mean, there's at least a dozen plays every game where, not a lot of people in the world can make those type of plays. So he deserves that recognition. Byron's game is growing. It's on the way. Leo right now, we're probably putting him in more like position flexibility than we are with Murph. Not that Murph can't do it. It's just Leo just is showing the ability. He's just had more experience and can move him around a little bit more than we do with Murph. But Murph's on his way. He's doing a lot of great things. Teammate.
All right, so we're gonna. You heard enough, Mike McDonald. I think that's enough. I mean, we'll just have to break it down some other time. But you can just hear the intentionality with which the Seahawks defense was created, and Mike's looks at it as a program, right? And all 52 players you've seen, all 53, all 72 players as they talk about that. But we're going to shift here before we run out of time. As I said, just in terms of speaking of program, is the Husky football and basketball. So let's start with Andrew Bailey. He is the college beat writer, editor for CascadiaSports.net, and he's just passing that torch, right? Football season is just about to end, and then basketball season has also started. So, Andrew, my first question to you, and welcome on to the show, is Jedd Fisch leaving?
No, he's not leaving. John Summerall ended up taking the Florida job. A lot of people were nervous that Fisch was going to leave for Florida, but that didn't happen. UCLA was on the periphery too, but they decided to go with a coach from James Madison. So all good on that front.
All right. Take us through. You were there, as you have been at every game and you at every press conference, and you were at some of the, I believe, the practices. So the final score is 26-14. Take us through the game, my guy.
Just seemed like Oregon's defense kind of just outclassed the Huskies' offense. It's similar to what happened against Michigan, Ohio State, and even a little bit of Wisconsin. Damon Williams was sacked 4 times on Saturday, and he threw 2 interceptions, one crucial one near the red zone that cost him an opportunity to score. And so just looking at it, Oregon's defense was what kind of ruled the day. They kind of dominated the time of possession, had the ball for over 34 minutes. And so they kind of turned it into a possession game where shrunk the possessions for Washington there and just leaned on their defense.
Yeah, you bring up a real good point. Hopefully, what is that talent gap between Huskies and the teams you mentioned, Oregon, obviously Michigan, Ohio State? You're watching big, small. What's your take on that?
My take is it's between the tackles. They just need to get stronger on the offensive and defensive lines to be able to generate more pressure on defense, and then also on the offense to be able to protect their quarterback. And the good news is they have players in this recruiting class that I'm going to see on Wednesday in this early signing day. They're addressing that issue. They have 2 really good offensive linemen coming in. First and foremost, Cody Green, 5-star recruit that they flipped from Oregon to Washington. That's a big one. And then Dominic Harris, who's another big offensive lineman. So that's good on the offensive side of things. And then you flip it over to the defense. Derek Coleman-Brusa, T.I. Umikais, another really strong defensive lineman. And so they're building back those trenches. And it's just, I think getting those pieces is what's going to be key to taking that next step. And then also they're kind of filling in some gaps around that too. They're going to add Mason James, 4-star receiver out of Oklahoma, and then they're going to add Brian Bonner, a 4-star running back out of California. So they're getting more pieces to make this team stronger, and they're going to bring back a lot of this young talent that they've been developing this year. And I think it's just going to be really fun to watch in 2026.
And leading obviously, the leader, the tip of the spear is Damon Williams. What would his overall game, what's your assessment how the season has gone for him?
Well, we saw what Damon Williams can do against, the teams that the Huskies are supposed to beat. He did really well against those teams, but it just seemed like every time he gets up against a really tough defensive front, whether it was Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, Oregon, he just seemed to have a tougher time in those games. This last game against Oregon, he goes 15 for 30, throws for 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, which were good, but the 2 interceptions, the big one, the one at Oregon's 21, as I said before, cost them some points there.
Yeah, so Jonah, you talked a little bit about this. Jonah Coleman is gone. Adam Muhammad, read your article on CascadingSports.net. Nice job about the young guys, by the way. But Adam Muhammad, what do you gave him raving reviews, so I'll give you a chance to say the same one.
I feel like he's finally, getting his shot. He hasn't really had that chance. He's been behind Coleman. I think he's wanted to get more opportunities, more reps, and he's taken advantage of those the last few weeks. He's been the lead rusher back-to-back weeks, had over 100 yards rushing, had 105 yards against Oregon. And so that's a good sign. I think it's a good indicator. And again, he's only a sophomore. So now that Coleman's gone, he's going to be the main guy. He's the guy. So that is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that is a good indicator of what's to come for him. And I think he's just only going to keep growing and building off of that. And he's really learned a lot from Jonah Coleman. They're really good friends, and they work really hard to weight room together. And so I think it's just been good to just kind of see his development, to kind of just learn from Coleman, and then kind of just he's starting to take that next step to really become the leader of that running back room.
Yeah, a big jump in terms of his, like you said, the opportunities. Last year he had 42 attempts, 193 yards. This year jumps up to 90 and 412 yards, averaging 4.6, and he had 5 touchdowns. So from Glendale, Arizona, I got to think that Fish kind of knew who he was somewhere along the way, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no question. He's liked Adam Muhammad for many years, and he's very excited about what he has there, and he's excited about the other young guys he has coming up behind him. So it's going to be fun to watch to see how those guys keep getting better, and then kind of also see like we said, what's going to happen with Damon Williams' progression as he gets, more of these young guys surrounded around him going forward into the future. So good to see.
Where's your biggest concern?
My biggest concern with the Huskies is, can they learn how to win these big games? Because it just seems every time they get into these situations, they have a chance. I mean, they're within striking distance again there against Oregon. They get a touchdown to bring them within 5, and then they have a 3rd and 9, a big pivotal play. If they can get off the field there, they have a chance to maybe go down the field and score and potentially win the football game. And they just haven't been able to make that play when they've needed to. And as Fish said, that comes back to coaching, and they need to do a better job of coaching in those situations. And some of it's also talent, but also coaching. They got to find ways when they have those opportunities to make the most of those opportunities.
All right, I'm sneaking here. So 2026 schedule. It looks like they've got the Cougars September 5th. Wow. And then they've got Utah, then Eastern Washington, September 19th, and then just home games, Big Ten, Indiana, Iowa, Minnesota, Penn State. So that's favorable, right?
You're right.
But you're on the road. Michigan State. Okay, I know it's way too early, but that's what we like to do, right? So they've got Oregon, Purdue, and USC. That's a pretty favorable schedule, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. The fortunate thing, and I think Dan Rayleigh was telling me this, that they don't play Ohio State and Michigan for a long time. So unless they have to face them in the Big Ten title game, if it came to that, but they don't have to face some of those bigger names. They do have to still face Oregon on the road. I think that's just basically because of a rivalry that they have to face them each year. But still, I mean, favorable schedule, not too bad.
Yeah, Huskies won't play Oregon. I mean, they won't play 2028. They will return. That's when they. Oh wow, that's a bruising schedule. That they'll be on the road at Ohio State, and then they will host Michigan. So 2028 is when those two schools, which we're assuming will obviously continue to be top echelon college football, but you never know. I mean, going back to next year in Nebraska, you just don't know. All right, I had a couple other questions I wanted to ask you. I will ask you what Lane Kiffin, LSU. What's your take?
This is just one of the awful things right now about college sports. They just need to fix this schedule, and they need to fix the way and time in which guys can leave schools and stay at schools, because it just doesn't make sense. I mean, in the NFL, I don't think an NFL coach can just leave. Like Mike McDonald can say, oh, I want to go leave, and I'm going to now coach the Rams, or I'm going to go coach the Arizona Cardinals. You can't do that. But in college, I guess you can go from Ole Miss and then go to another SEC school in LSU. After having an 11-1 year, this doesn't make sense. You had a great season. Don't you want to finish? Like, you really just leaving for the money, or what are we doing here?
Well, a couple things. This might take up a little bit of our basketball coverage, but I agree in terms of some things need to be fixed here. Lane Kiffin, how long was he? 6 years? Was he at Ole Miss? That's fine. I agree with you in terms of the timing, but they wouldn't let him coach the last game. And that bears the question, is it fair for the school to say, hey, Ole Miss, you can't coach this game, right? I get the administration part, the business end, but what does it do to the kids, to your point? So those are some of the things. The root is that the money, the administration wanting to win, the coaches wanting to win. That hasn't changed, obviously, but those two have gotten away from the kids. Both of those entities have left behind who is the driving force in this, and that's why I think the NIL has helped somewhat. So, yeah, I don't blame him for leaving after I kind of read a couple of things and figured it out. I mean, but to your point, I agree in terms of the timing. It looks all right. Let's go to the basketball. What have you seen so far from the UW basketball? And then also they've got a tough week this week, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough week. They got to face UCLA on Wednesday, hoping to get Hannah Stein back for UCLA because that'd be a huge addition because UCLA is going to come in angry because they lost to Cal last week and they're expecting a very physical game. And the Huskies, they split the 2 games last week at the Acrisure Holiday Classic. They crushed Nevada, but then Colorado, they were kind of outclassed on the interior. They were out rebounded for the first time 42-33 against the Buffaloes. And that was really the first game that happened. And they just need to do a better job, according to Danny Sprinkle, of just being less selfish with the basketball. Because that first half against Colorado, they had just 2 assists on 9 made field goals. Second half was an improvement. They went, and he even said the first 10 minutes they played really good basketball, ended up tying the game after being down 17 at half. And they assisted on 9 of 14 field goals. So it's just they need to figure out more ways that they can move the ball and not, just be so focused on dribbling into the paint and trying to just drive it to the basket every time, because that was what they ran into. It was kind of a perfect trap that Colorado had set for them because they had really tall, lengthy bigs inside. And when the guards tried to drive it, it would just get stopped by those bigs when they try to get inside and get to the basket. So it's just he gave a lot of credit to Colorado because they just had a really good game plan for them. And then, just as I said, they need to do a better job of moving the ball, creating offense. Some of that's been hard for them, I know, because he also said that, with all the injuries, trying to create more creative offensive sets, it's been a bit of a challenge for them.
So is it the guard play? Yeah, I get it's decision making. Is it that they lack the guard play, or they have the big men and they've been injured? A little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of I think the injuries have really set them back as far as their timeline. Even he's kind of admitted to it a little bit that if they had their full complement of players, he feels like they could be further along and where they are as a team. But I would also say some of it is it's also guards having to play different roles. Zoom Diallo has had to play the 4 sometimes. Wesley Yates has had to play the 4 sometimes. So guys are having to play different positions. So they're not necessarily, leading or commanding the offense. They're having to take on different roles that they didn't anticipate that they had to because they're just playing smaller lineups.
Okay. I think we're just about out of time. And good job, Andrew. So they also play USC, right? Don't forget the Trojans.
Yep. It's a Pac-12 week, I guess, because they just play Colorado, then they play UCLA, USC. So kind of going back in time a little bit here.
Back in time it is. So, it looks like here that I was trying to get an idea. It's way too early, but some people are saying the Huskies would play December 31st against Pittsburgh in the Sun Bowl, which wouldn't be a bad idea, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think I heard LA Bowl is also a possibility on the 13th against maybe UNLV. And then the other one, I believe, was January 2nd in the Holiday Bowl against another ACC school.
Wow.
So
a New Year's Day Bowl would be a big get for them. All right. Thanks, Andrew. Good job. Again, CascadiaSports.net. You can read all his stuff up there. And want to thank you, D-Money, for everything behind the scenes and pulling all the levers. Thank you all for watching and listening. I'm Mazvita Maraire. This is Seattle Sports.